Hey guys, it's been a while. Welcome to the channel. If you guys are new here, I'm RoyHoss. Briefly, I have been in sales for the last 15 years. I run a company that is doing very well, and it's a marketing company. I have a sales team, I manage sales teams. I've done B2B, B2C, enterprise sales, all that fun stuff. A lot of consulting work to help a lot of salespeople, and we've done quite well. So the reason I want to get onto this live here is one, I don't like editing, and I just want to tell you guys something that I think can be of a lot of value for many of you. We just recently, and for many cases, we're still in times of very difficult times because of this whole thing that went global that everyone's been experiencing. So I want to get on it here, and with my new streaming setup with the camera, I finally sorted it out. So hopefully I'll be able to make more of these videos. But I really wanted to get on here and cover something that I think is would be a real eye opener if you don't have the right mentality. I've had shitty jobs, and I know a lot of you have jobs where you hate your job and you just are constantly thinking about like when is this ever going to end? When am I going to finally start making the money that I deserve to make? The big bucks, right? The bucks that I've always imagined myself to make, the money that I'm worth. And yet it's been a year, 2 years, 5 years, and you're still at the same job. And you're just not making that money. And maybe every time you go into Facebook, you see somebody gloating or bragging about how they've made so much damn money, how your friends and seemingly everyone but you is making money, and you just can't figure it out. It's the most frustrating thing in the world. If I was in that position, I would feel the same way. And one of the reasons why I have not used Facebook and I don't really have the streaming, I can't see the feed in Facebook. I have blockers so I don't look at that kind of shit. And I would suggest you do the same. But there's a lot of reasons that we can dive into. But today I'm really just focusing on one specific reason. See, what it really boils down to is you want to take a look at what you're doing. So let's take a look at a job of, let's say, a waiter, right? So if you're a waiter, then you're feeding somebody that's hungry. How much is that act worth? If I bring food to somebody, they could technically get up off their ass and go to the kitchen, get the food themselves and bring it to themselves. They can go and get their drink, their beer, their soda, and bring it to themselves. They don't need to have you there to bring them their food, right? It's not a necessity. So if you have that kind of a job, okay, we can take another example. Let's say you work as a graphic designer for some kind of a company, right? You work as a graphic designer. They want to create a flyer or an email blast, and they want you to design a nice email so it looks professional, a good letterhead, all the graphic design that that firm, small or medium-sized firm needs. Maybe that goes through you and maybe one or two other people. So what you kind of want to think about is like, okay, well, they have this thing that needs to get done, needs to look nice, and that's going to get sent out. In both of these two examples, what's the common theme? The common theme is that you are providing a service, you're solving a problem that is just not that big of a problem. You're just not solving somebody's major issue. So if you think about it, right, if I have some kind of a urgent thing that I need to have done, like I urgently need to get from the airport to a certain location within a certain amount of time, I will pay to rent a car, especially if I need it to be a nice car. I'll pay more money because I really need it right there and then, and it's urgent. If, for example, somebody needs surgery urgently because it's a life or death situation, they'll pay nearly any money to get that surgery. If you look at it a bit further and you think of, well, if I don't do this at my company, then my company can potentially go bankrupt within a certain amount of time, or it just won't do well and people won't get their paychecks. People are going to suffer. If I don't do this task that I'm tasked with at my company, it's important, then there will be major consequences. So what you kind of want to think of is, how valuable are you and what you do in your company, in your startup, in your business, or where you work? Do you solve a major problem, or is it a problem that anybody could come along and solve and switch places with you and they'd also be able to do it? Is it bagging groceries? Is it flipping hamburgers? Or is it heart surgery? Is it being able to close a major deal for your company? What kind of a role do you sort of play, and how big of a problem are you solving? Because that's really what it boils down to. And most people don't kind of realize that you come along into a job and you're working there and you're working your ass off. You're in Home Depot, or you're wherever you're working, whatever company you're working at. You're a carpenter or something like that, and you're working all these long hours. You come home tired. You're exhausted. You put in overtime. You barely get any vacation days. What was it all for? How come I don't get paid for all this much more? Why is it that I work so hard, and yet this guy in a suit comes in for 5 hours a day? Maybe he doesn't even work a full day, and he gets paid all this money. Why is that? Well, from the business owner's perspective, which is how I look at things in the companies that I consult, or even in my own companies, how big of a problem are you solving? How big of a problem do you solve in the company? How replaceable is your position? How necessary is your position? If I can go and I can find 100 people within a day that can do the exact same thing that you're doing, then why would I pay a lot of money for that? But whereas if we compare that, and let's say you are the top performing salesperson in a team, then I want to make sure you get paid well, because you're doing an excellent job. You're doing an important service. You're an important part of the company. You're valuable. That's not to say that people aren't valuable. They are. It's just that your role in the company, how much is it worth to the company? Because at the end of the day, it's a business. So if you want to think of it this way, if I don't have this position, if I don't have this person working in my company doing this role, then what'll happen? What'll happen to the cash flow of the company? What'll happen to the to clients in the company? Will I have clients? Will clients leave if they're not there? By having this person, do I have more clients? Does it affect my bottom line by having this person there? And by how much? And is it this specific person and their abilities that are irreplaceable, that I have to have this one specific person that understands our systems way better than if I was to bring somebody in from the outside and have to teach them and pray and hope that they are able to do as well or better? How important is that person? And if you look at things that way, if you look at yourself and reassess that, and you look at yourself from the perspective of a business owner and think, well, okay, if I come into a business and I'm offering my services or my abilities, my skill to them, then what am I doing in that company? How important am I to that company? And how many other people are there that can do what I can do? If the answer out of those questions is, if I disappeared tomorrow, it wouldn't affect the company, or that they can have put an ad out on a job website and they can have 1,000 applicants in a day that can all do the same thing that I can do, maybe even better, while you're not going to ever get paid a lot of money. Whereas if the answer to that is that if I come into the company, what I'm able to provide for that company has significant, massive impact on the well-being, the trajectory of that company, the finances of that company. If I'm able to say that about my position, and also that if I disappear for a month in that company, then there will be major issues in that company. If I'm able to say that, then I have a value that I bring to the company that would cause massive discomfort, or it would cause a lot of issues for that company if I wasn't able to do my role. So you need to basically take stock. You need to take inventory of you, your abilities, and how valuable are those abilities. Maybe you need to get a new skill set. I need to look at, okay, what is it that I can do? Maybe that I like doing, or maybe that I know I can do well, that others just can't do as well? Or what is it I can learn that very few people know how to do, that I can bring to a company that provides them value that they would otherwise not have? And if you think of it in that way, and then you're able to actually fill that need and that pain maybe that company would have without you, well, that's just a whole nother level. And if you can get to that level where you basically are no longer just working more hours to be able to make that little bit extra. You're working overtime. Instead of that, if instead you don't even need to work that many hours, it's not how many hours you work. If it stops being about the hours and it's more about what kind of a problem you're solving, that's when you go to a whole new level of income and success, really. Because if it no longer matters how many hours you put in, but just the sheer problem that you're solving, the problem that your company is solving, the problem that your team is solving, if you solve big problems, you get big paydays. So I hope that that's something that you guys found useful. If it is, click like and subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are, if this is something that you can relate to, what kind of job you have now, and what you're thinking of doing. If you need help with something, by all means, write in the comments and I'll try and respond. But yeah, I'll try and do more videos, especially now that I've figured out how to do these live streams so I don't have to do a whole bunch of editing because I hate editing. So hopefully this turns out nice and you guys enjoy this. Let me know if you like this kind of a content where it's unedited, it's just straight live stream. I'll do more of these. Otherwise, I'll go back to sort of editing and chopping up the videos a bit more. But yeah, it's good to be back. Hopefully I'll be doing more of these, like I said, and take care for now.